5 healthy fruits that could increase stroke risk after 60. What if your nightly fruit snack was silently increasing your stroke risk? These fruits are considered healthy, but the timing and combination might turn them harmful. Let's uncover how smart seniors are changing their evening habits to protect their brains. If you're over 60, these 5 fruits, yes fruits, could silently raise your risk of stroke while you sleep. No warning, no pain. One moment you're fine, and the next you can't lift your arm, your speech is slurred, or your vision is doubled. As a brain doctor, I've seen this happen far too often. Not from smoking or lack of exercise or even high cholesterol, but from something people believe is healthy fruit. Every day, millions of seniors eat fruit believing they're doing the right thing. And while many fruits are good for you, some, especially when eaten at the wrong time or in the wrong way, can quietly push your brain into danger. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 fruits that may raise your risk of stroke, brain bleeds, or dangerous blood pressure swings, especially during the overnight hours when your brain is most vulnerable. If you or someone you love eats bananas, grapes, pineapple, watermelon, or fruit juice, this video could truly change or even save your life. Before we begin, ask yourself, have you ever wondered if something natural might be hurting you? Because the truth is, not everything nature gives us is safe after 60. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Bananas. Heart healthy but dangerous. For nighttime blood pressure in seniors, most seniors believe bananas are one of the safest fruits. They're easy to chew, high in potassium, and often recommended for heart health. But here's what most people over 60 are never told. A banana eaten at the wrong time, especially late in the day, can quietly become a trigger for a stroke while you sleep. Yes, really, let me explain. As a brain doctor, I've treated hundreds of stroke cases, but the one that still haunts me is Mr. Leonard Hayes, 74, a former auto mechanic from Michigan. Every night after dinner, Leonard had the same routine: a warm cup of tea and 2 ripe bananas. He believed he was helping his blood pressure and preventing muscle cramps. But one morning, his wife found him slumped beside the bed. His speech was slurred, his right arm completely limp. He had suffered a stroke in his sleep without a single warning sign the night before. The test results were alarming. His blood pressure had dropped dangerously low overnight, and his sodium levels were off balance. The culprit: potassium overload from eating too many bananas in combination with his evening dose of lisinopril, a common blood pressure medication. The combination had pushed his system into a dangerous state. Low blood pressure plus altered electrolyte levels equals restricted blood flow to the brain. You see, as we age, our kidneys don't clear excess potassium as efficiently. Add to that the natural dehydration that happens overnight and a slower metabolism, and you create a perfect storm for a silent cerebral event. What begins as a healthy bedtime snack becomes quite literally a ticking time bomb inside the body. Worse still, symptoms often don't show until after the damage is done. Many seniors don't realize that too much potassium can slow the heart, weaken the pulse, and drop blood pressure to the point that the brain simply doesn't get the oxygen it needs. The result? Strokes. Many strokes, and in some cases, even cardiac arrest during sleep. Mr. Hayes survived, but not without consequence. He now uses a walker and requires speech therapy. His independence, his ability to drive, walk unassisted, speak clearly was taken in one night by a fruit he trusted. Let me be clear, bananas are not evil, but timing, quantity, and your medication status matter more than you think. For seniors, half a banana in the morning is usually safe, but eating 2 or more in the evening, especially alongside blood pressure medications or diuretics, could set the stage for disaster. The scariest part, he had no idea he was putting himself at risk, and he's not alone. So, if you're eating bananas at night or taking potassium-rich snacks after dinner, please speak to your doctor. Review your medications. Don't let a well-meaning habit take away your independence, your voice, or your life. And if you thought bananas were surprising, wait until you hear about a fruit that acts like a blood thinner, especially dangerous for those on heart medications. It's sweet, tropical, and quietly harmful. Find out in the next section. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now, let's move on to point number 2. 2. Pineapple, the hidden blood thinner that can cause brain bleeds in seniors. If you're over 65 and on heart or blood pressure medications, there's a fruit in your kitchen that may be doing more harm than help. Sweet, tropical, and beloved by many seniors trying to eat healthy, pineapple is often praised for its anti-inflammatory benefits and digestive support. But here's what you're not being told. Pineapple contains a natural enzyme called bromelain that can act like a blood thinner, and when combined with common medications, it can set off a ticking time bomb inside your brain. You might not taste the danger, but your blood knows. Bromelain interferes with your body's ability to clot. That may sound like a good thing if you're trying to prevent a heart attack, but when it goes too far, it can cause tiny fragile vessels in your brain to rupture, especially if you're already taking aspirin, Warfarin, Plavix, or other anticoagulants. Most seniors don't realize this, and the supplement bottle or even that innocent bowl of fruit salad won't come with a warning. I'll never forget Mrs. Helen R., 81, a retired elementary school teacher from Michigan. She came into my clinic with a pounding headache, dizziness, and nausea. Her son thought it was the flu, but the CT scan told another story. A small intracerebral hemorrhage, a bleed deep in the brain. She didn't fall. She didn't have uncontrolled blood pressure. She hadn't changed her medications, but she had recently started drinking fresh pineapple juice every morning after reading it was good for inflammation. She thought she was helping her memory. Instead, she was making her blood too thin to protect her brain. We reviewed her labs. Her clotting markers were low. Combined with her low-dose aspirin and the daily pineapple, her brain had no protection when a small vessel burst. She lived, but she's never been the same. Her balance is off. She needs help showering. Her daughter now checks every label in the fridge. Helen told me with tears in her eyes, "I wish someone had told me a fruit could bleed my brain." This is the kind of loss that isn't dramatic on the outside, but inside it changes everything. One bite at a time, one sip at a time, it adds up. So the next time you reach for pineapple thinking it's harmless, remember Helen. Especially if you're taking blood thinners, even a healthy fruit can quietly work against you. And just when you think avoiding blood-thinning fruits is enough, what if I told you there's a fruit that looks innocent but floods your brain with sugar, feeding inflammation like fuel on fire? 3. Grapes. Sweet on the outside, silently harmful to the aging brain. If you're over 60, chances are someone has told you that grapes are a healthy snack, and at first glance they seem innocent, small, easy to eat, full of antioxidants. But what many seniors didn't know is that grapes, especially the seedless, extra sweet varieties found in most grocery stores today, can pose a hidden threat to your brain, particularly when eaten in the evening. The danger isn't just the sugar, it's how fast that sugar enters your bloodstream. Grapes are high in fructose, and when consumed without fiber, protein, or fat to slow digestion, like during a late-night snack, they cause a rapid spike in blood sugar followed by a crash. In younger people, the body usually handles this. But in seniors, this glucose roller coaster becomes far more dangerous. Spikes and crashes can trigger inflammation in the small vessels of the brain, increase nighttime blood pressure variability, and even contribute to the onset of silent strokes. Tiny symptomless events that damage brain tissue a little at a time. I'll never forget Mr. Harold M., age 76, a retired postal worker who came to me complaining of lightedness, blurred vision, and mild confusion, symptoms that would come and go, mostly in the mornings. He assumed it was just age or maybe dehydration, but after a brain MRI, we found evidence of multiple microinfarcts, small strokes that had gone unnoticed. As we reviewed his lifestyle, one detail stood out. Every night he sat down in front of the TV with a large bowl of grapes. "It helped me stay away from cookies," he said. But in reality, Those grapes loaded with fast sugar were quietly wreaking havoc. Sinbin with his pre-diabetes and blood pressure meds. They became a perfect storm for brain inflammation and vascular stress. Today, Harold struggles with short-term memory. He can no longer live alone, and his family has had to hire part-time in-home help, all from something he thought was healthy. That's the lesson. Even natural sugar can become a neurotoxin if consumed the wrong way, at the wrong time, and in the wrong amount. Especially when your brain is more fragile and your metabolism slower with age. And now, if that scares you, it should, because the next fruit is one most people eat to stay hydrated, but it may be secretly draining your brain overnight. Let me tell you about watermelon, how it cools you down, and how it might be cooling your blood pressure to dangerously low levels while you sleep. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now, let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Watermelon refreshing by day, dangerous by night for aging blood vessels. Watermelon is the very definition of summer comfort. It's refreshing, easy to eat, and feels harmless, even healing. For seniors, it seems like the perfect snack, especially after dinner. Low in calories, full of water, and gentle on the stomach. But what I've seen in my neurology practice has taught me a hard truth. For older adults, eating watermelon in the evening could silently set the stage for a stroke while you sleep. Here's why. Watermelon is over 90% water and contains an amino acid called citrulline, which naturally helps relax and widen blood vessels. That sounds like a benefit, but for seniors, especially those on blood pressure medications or diuretics, it can be a dangerous combination. When you eat watermelon at night, the vessel dilation it triggers, combined with frequent urination due to its high water content, can cause 2 critical problems while you sleep: dehydration and sudden blood pressure drops. Our brains rely on steady blood flow and hydration through the night. When we lose fluid and pressure drops too low, the brain doesn't get the oxygen it needs. That's when small strokes, silent ones, can happen. No dramatic collapse, just waking up confused, off balance, or with a hand that suddenly won't move right. Mrs. Lillian R., age 79, was one of my patients who learned this too late. She had been eating a large bowl of chilled watermelon every night in July to stay cool. Her medications included a diuretic for heart failure and a mild beta blocker. One morning she couldn't stand. Her speech was slurred. At the hospital, we found signs of a nocturnal ischemic stroke, likely caused by overnight dehydration and low cerebral blood flow. She had no warning signs, no chest pain, no shortness of breath, just a sweet fruit and a good night's sleep until it wasn't. Today, she uses a cane, and her short-term memory is fragmented. I thought I was being healthy, she told me with tears in her eyes. I didn't know a fruit could do this. That's what makes this so frightening. It wasn't junk food. It wasn't alcohol. It was a simple mistake at the wrong time with the wrong body conditions. So yes, watermelon is hydrating, but timing, dosage, and medication interactions matter more than you think. For seniors, eating it late at night is like walking into a storm with no umbrella. And if you think that's unsettling, just wait until you hear about the last fruit. It's the one most people trust the most because it's labeled 100% natural. But inside the bottle hides one of the biggest stroke risks I've ever seen. 5. Fruit juices. The healthy choice that spikes your blood pressure and threatens your brain. We've all seen the commercials, a smiling senior sipping a glass of juice, the bottle proudly stamped with labels like 100% natural, heart healthy, or no added sugar. It looks wholesome, safe, even smart, but as a brain doctor, I need you to know the truth. For many older adults, that innocent glass of fruit juice, especially when consumed daily, can quietly spike your blood pressure, damage your brain's blood vessels, and increase your risk of stroke, especially if you're already on medications. Here's why. Most fruit juices, even the ones labeled pure or organic, are loaded with concentrated sugars and natural fructose, often more than a can of soda. But unlike whole fruits, juices strip away the fiber, meaning that sugar hits your bloodstream fast. causing a sudden surge in blood sugar and blood pressure. For a younger person, the body can handle that swing. But for someone over 65, especially someone on beta blockers, diuretics or statins, that sharp spike and crash can be dangerous, even deadly. I'll never forget Mr. Frank M., 84 years old, a retired postman from Ohio. He came to me complaining of racing heartbeats in the morning, flushing in his face, and dizzy spells. His family thought it was just part of aging. But I asked him one question that changed everything. "What do you have for breakfast?" He said, "A slice of toast and a tall glass of no sugar added orange juice." Every day for the last 12 years, we ran tests. His blood pressure was swinging wildly in the early hours. His blood vessels showed signs of inflammation, and he'd recently had a mini stroke he didn't even know about. Just blamed it on old age fog. The reality that daily juice was shocking his system like a caffeine jolt with sugar, stripping hydration and stressing his cardiovascular system. We cut the juice, adjusted his hydration and morning meal, and within a month the palpitation stopped. But the price of not knowing sooner. He now has permanent short-term memory issues and struggles with balance. I thought I was being healthy. He told me I didn't know the juice could turn on me. That's the hard part. We think we're doing the right thing, but as we age, the body changes. What once nourished us can now quietly harm us, and labels won't warn you. That's my job. So, if you've been drinking orange, apple or cranberry juice every day without thinking twice, now's the time to think. The sweetness in that glass may be far more bitter than you realize. So, what should you be eating instead? What foods truly protect your brain, balance your blood pressure, and support your body the way it was meant to? Let me show you what real brain nourishment looks like. 6. So, what should you eat to stay safe? By now, you might be feeling overwhelmed or even scared, and that's completely understandable. You've just heard how 5 common fruits, even ones you've trusted your whole life, could silently raise your risk of stroke, blood pressure spikes, or brain bleeds. But there's the good news. You are not powerless. The food you choose today, yes, even at your next meal, can either fuel your brain's decline or protect it for years to come. The difference lies not in the pills you take, but in the plate in front of you. One of my patients, Mrs. Margaret W., age 73, came to me feeling frustrated. She had a drawer full of supplements, vitamin D for her bones, niacin for her cholesterol, a multivitamin, and fruit juices she drank for energy. But despite all of that, she was dizzy every morning, her blood pressure was unpredictable, and her thinking felt cloudy. "I'm doing everything they say to do," she told me. "Why do I feel worse?" We sat down together, cleared the supplements, and restructured her nutrition around real foods. Simple ingredients her body could recognize and handle. No magic superfoods, no fad diets. Just consistent, balanced meals designed for how the aging brain and body actually work. Her breakfast changed from juice and toast to 1 boiled egg, clean protein, half an avocado, healthy fats, a slice of whole grain toast, slow release energy, a handful of blueberries, brain protecting antioxidants, and a glass of room temperature water, gentle hydration. Within 2 weeks, she said her mind felt clearer than it had in years. The dizziness faded, her blood pressure steadied, and most of all, she felt in control again. Here's what I want every senior to know. Your body at 70 doesn't process food like it did at 40. You don't need high doses. You need balance. You need hydration, real fiber, natural fats, and steady nutrients, not sugar bombs, not superfruit powders, not miracle claims in a bottle. Some of the safest and smartest brain foods for seniors include leafy greens like spinach and kale for folate and antioxidants, fatty fish like salmon or sardines rich in brain, saving omega-3 south, berries like blueberries or raspberries for polyphenols, nuts and seeds, especially walnuts and flaxseed for vitamin E and magnesium, whole grains like oatmeal or quinoa to regulate blood sugar and improve circulation. Margaret still eats fruit, but now she does it wisely with timing, portion control and full awareness. She tells me, "I didn't have to give up food, I just had to give up fear." You have that same power. What you eat now shapes how you think, walk, remember, and live years from now. It's not about restriction, it's about reclaiming control over your health, one smart choice at a time. And if you're wondering how to put all of this into action without pills, without confusion, I want to leave you with one final truth. Sometimes the most dangerous thing isn't what you're eating, it's what you still believe is safe. Let's talk about that next. Final wake-up call: what you think is safe could be hurting you. At this stage in life, every choice we make carries more weight than it did decades ago. The body slows down. The brain becomes more sensitive. The heart beats a little more carefully. And yet, so many seniors walk through each day trusting habits that once worked, never realizing that what used to be harmless might now be dangerous. That's the quiet tragedy I see over and over. People who genuinely want to stay healthy, who choose fruit over dessert, who take their vitamins, who sip juice instead of soda, only to find themselves in a hospital bed confused and afraid, asking, how did this happen? It happens because no one told them the full story, because marketing promises natural, healthy, or heart-friendly without telling you how these things interact with aging organs, medications, or nighttime vulnerabilities. Because we forget that the brain doesn't shout when something's wrong. It whispers until one day it doesn't whisper anymore. But it doesn't have to be this way. The first step to protecting your brain isn't a new pill or a pricey supplement. It's awareness, knowing that even good foods can turn dangerous in the wrong context. Recognizing that age changes everything. How you absorb, how you metabolize, how your brain responds, and most importantly, being willing to change old habits in exchange for new protection. I've seen patients reclaim their clarity, independence, and peace of mind, not through extreme diets, but through small smart shifts. Eating earlier, cutting back on fruit juices, replacing late-night snacks with protein and fiber, checking labels, asking better questions. Because at this age you don't just deserve to live, you deserve to live well, with strength, with dignity, with full control over the choices that shape your tomorrow. So the next time you reach for something that looks healthy, ask yourself, is this truly good for me or just good in theory? Your brain, your future, and your freedom are worth that question. And I promise you, it's never too late to choose differently. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms. The truth is, as we age, even foods that once served us well may now require second thoughts. The 5 fruits discussed: bananas, pineapple, grapes, watermelon, and fruit juice are not inherently dangerous, but for older adults with slowed metabolism, medications, and increased sensitivity, timing, portion control, and food combinations make all the difference. Don't let outdated habits compromise your health. To start by making informed choices, rethinking your evening snacks, and giving your brain the oxygen and balance it needs. You deserve clarity, vitality, and peace of mind as you age. And the journey starts with what's on your plate. Share this with someone who needs it. Subscribe for more insights. And most of all, believe that every small step toward awareness is a giant leap toward better health.